Good afternoon, class, and welcome to week 6 of middle school curriculum. This week, we're going to look back at the text, How to Handle Hard to Handle Parents, and we're going to read chapters 5 and 6 of this book. We're going to take the strategies that you learn in those two chapters, and we're going to apply them to some hypothetical scenarios that you're presented with as part of this week's discussion board. In fact, you're presented with 6 different possible scenarios, and you get to pick whichever option you find most appealing, and then you're just going to discuss how you would employ some of the strategies that are presented in chapters 5 and 6 to deal effectively with the situations that you are presented with. So you just pick one of those scenarios, but what I think will be intriguing is that you'll have the opportunity to respond to classmates who picked other scenarios. So it should provide for some good variety and discussion and engagement in the discussion board this week. After you've completed that, you will want to look at the PDF that talks about being a Catholic educator. And even if you're not going to teach in a Catholic school, we bring our faith with us everywhere. And I think that we live and breathe it through our countenance, through the way we exchange and discourse with others, and just through our charity and kindness. So it doesn't have to be something that you necessarily talk about, but certainly something that you're always living. So we want to talk about how we will live our faith in the classroom and what that really means to you, how the faith will be integrated. I think it goes without saying that to be a teacher is to live a spiritual work of mercy, because if you look up the spiritual works of mercy, the very first one that you're going to read is to instruct. So by its very nature, teaching is a spiritual work of mercy, which is so beautiful that our very avocation can be a form of mercy to others. So think about that and really take some time to reflect. This is a short paper, and I really want your personal insights. I think teaching is this beautiful calling, and I'm just so excited that you've all responded to that calling. But you have those 2 assignments that are due this week. And then in addition, you should be working with your partner on your first case study that you were presented with last week. I had asked all of you to share a Google Doc link with me so I could pop in and see how you and your teammate are working together. I've only gotten emails from a handful of you. So be looking for an email from me asking you to set up your Google Doc so I can pop in. If you are having issues connecting with your partner, please let me know right away and we will make some arrangements to make sure everything works out okay. Those are the 3 assignments that you have due this week: the case study, the Catholic educator reflection, and then the discussion board that has to deal with difficult parenting situations. You'll also notice in this week's learning session folder, you are presented with your first performance project. And in this project, I have it here because it has a lot of detail to it, but I specifically made sure that within the performance-based projects, which are in a folder located on the left-hand side, that I was as detailed as I could be so that you weren't second guessing anything. But once you pull up performance-based project 1, you'll notice that you're going to be creating an interdisciplinary project. And in your book, you're presented with all different types of interdisciplinary models, but I specifically ask you to pick and design yours around one of 3 different approaches, which are presented within the folder for Project 1. I also present you with some of the full interdisciplinary curriculum projects that students have completed during past semesters. So you're going to have a great template and model to work with. So there shouldn't be too many questions that you have. You'll notice that when you read inside this description that there are 3 main parts to your project. The first one is that you're going to complete a short review of literature or synopsis about the interdisciplinary approach, which we've already discussed quite a bit in this class in the discussion board, and then we've also looked at it most recently in the test that you took. You are required to cite at least 3 reputable sources. Our textbook can be one of them, e-journals can be others, and you need to write about 3 to 4 pages with respect to the literature behind the interdisciplinary approach. The second part is going to be a curriculum map. This could be a spreadsheet or a table that you create that will discuss the themes and student activities that you will use as formative and summative assessment. And you're going to have examples of these again from students from past semesters that are included within this Project 1 folder on the left tab. Lastly, you're going to present a course description of the themes you've created, explaining the faculty expectations and student learning outcomes. As mentioned again, because I don't want any of you to feel overwhelmed, and I know this can feel overwhelming because it's a big project, you're going to have examples of concrete projects that have all these components. There's 2 of them specifically that I've included that were done well within your Project 1 folder in Blackboard. So please visit those. But you'll notice that you have 3 different approaches to model your project after, and they're listed on pages 102 to 109 of your text. And then I give you a brief summary of them and tell you specifically what I would like you to do within your project in Blackboard. And they're in a bright blue color, royal blue, so you'll be able to quickly notice them. You have more than 4 weeks to work on this, including over spring break. My greatest encouragement would be to start it now. After this project, you have 2 others. They're not as big as this, but these projects comprise a big portion of your grade, and I know they take up a lot of time, and you have to synthesize a lot of material together to make it cohesive and comprehensive. So start it now. Try to maybe set up a timeline where you're working on the first part maybe over the first week and a half, the second part the next week and a half, and then the last part the last week and a half, so it can all be done and you're not feeling overwhelmed at any given time. But that summarizes that first project. It is due, the full project, on March 25th. If, after you read through all the details and you look at the examples, if you have any questions whatsoever, don't hesitate to email me. Also, know you can always stop in during my office hours on Thursday and Friday from noon to 2:30. I'm in room 262 in Egan, and I'd love to meet any one of you in person to discuss the project. But I hope you have a great afternoon and a great week, and I look forward to touching base with all of you in the discussion board and to popping in and seeing how you and your teammate are doing on your case study. If you and your teammate or one of you haven't sent me your Google Doc link yet, please do so that I can see what progress you're making. Thanks and God bless.